So hi everybody, how are you? So Marge, did you want to give me some? Is there a kind of a context that you want me to talk about here in the time that we're going to be speaking?
Nope, just greetings from the mayor is what this is called.
Okay, well, thank you, Marge, for inviting me, and I'm sorry I was only able to be here for a little while. This is kind of in between meetings. I'm finding, like I'm sure many of you, especially lately, there's been meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, and they all been sitting in the exact same chair in the exact same room. I was thinking about this the other day. It's a bit of an odd situation that in the pre-pandemic times, you wouldn't have as many meetings because you'd have to travel at least between rooms in the city office or between buildings to get from one meeting to the next. But I guess this is the way it is in the last little while. So I do want to bring greetings on behalf of Richmond Hill Council and myself, and thank all of you for being so engaged in our community, and thank you, Marge, for all the things that you do. You had mentioned earlier about the very successful event for the coldest night of the year walk, and I thank you for all the work that you've done on that, and I thank the other organizers from Blue Door, particularly Michael Braithwaite, and from Mosaic Interfaith Out of the Cold, Rihanna Sumar, for doing all the work that they did. And as I think you mentioned, this is a cross-Canada initiative to raise money and awareness for homelessness, and it was an important event for Richmond Hill and an important event for the programs that we have here in York Region. One of the things that I was thinking about as we were before we did that event, and I had a team that did some good fundraising, and I thank all of them as well for doing that. But one of the things I was thinking about in that was that homelessness didn't seem to be something a few years ago that we ever really thought much about in the suburbs. It was kind of a problem that we had in big cities, but it wasn't really something that you see in Richmond Hill. And I think in retrospect, it probably was happening in Richmond Hill and other suburbs, but we just didn't really see it. But the last few years, homelessness is something that people are starting to actually see happen. We're seeing people on the streets. The pandemic has certainly made it much more difficult, for people that are having housing instability or are homeless. And this has been an issue that is becoming a thing in Richmond Hill that we're much more aware of, and that's probably a good thing, because I think when we're aware of a problem, we can take action. I am very cognizant of how complicated the reasons for homelessness are, and I thank people like Michael Braithwaite and Rihanna Sumar for all of the education that they're able to provide to the community to help us to understand why it's happening, and then therefore how we can address it. On a more good news front, I guess, we had a number of regional council meetings since I've been elected, and some good work has been going on at the region. I know that sometimes people don't really pay as much attention to what's happening at the regional level of government. And I'm trying to make sure that I take my role as mayor seriously and explain to people, what does the region do? But anyway, one of the things I want to concentrate on today is we did get a briefing from our Chief Medical Officer of Health in York Region, Dr. Pecos, and we are following the Ontario Public Health Guidelines and working with them to reopen a lot of elements of our society and our economy. So as of today, March 1st, a number of the public health measures that we've seen over the last couple of years are now starting to fade off. Our hospital admissions are heading certainly in the right direction. There's been some indication that with the past reopenings that we've seen and the ones that are starting today, we're likely going to see numbers in hospital admissions go up a little bit, and that's to be expected. But we are looking at reopening consistent with the rest of Ontario, and hopefully that'll continue from now until we get kind of back to some sort of a new normal. I'm sure that it strikes everybody, and it certainly strikes me, that it was I think they said, I heard this morning that it was March the 12th, that, the schools in-class learning at 2 years ago was put on hold. And then very shortly after that, Ontario started putting in all the public health measures that we've been dealing with the last couple of years. And I'm sure we all agree that those have been very, very hard on so many people. And so I am pleased to see that we're moving in a much more positive direction on that. And we all really need to do what we need to do to protect ourselves and our families. And, our vaccination rates are quite high in York Region, but it was stressed by the medical officer of health that, as many people that can get vaccinated should get vaccinated. And, that will certainly help with, with this whole situation. So the other thing I just wanted to quickly mention, Marge, and I don't want to take up all of the time, we are having a special council meeting on Wednesday, tomorrow, to discuss the key directions report for our park recreation culture master plan. I'm quite enthusiastic about that. I think there's some really good things that are contained in that report. It's a key directions report, so it's not really talking about anything very specific, but it gives our parks, recreation, and culture staff the direction to go ahead and produce a new parks, recreation, and culture plan that will serve us for the next number of years after it's finally passed. And we're hoping to have it passed sometime in June. It's actually very important that we pass it in June, because there is a requirement for a number of the charges that we charge on development to be at the right level, so that those charges can help to fund a number of the key aspects of the development of that plan, like new amenities in parks, new recreation centers, that kind of thing. So we need to make sure we're getting enough money so that the tax base doesn't have to pay for all the things that we would like to do in our plan. So anyway, I have a lot more that I could talk about, but I think we'll just, in the time that we have, I'll leave it at that. But anyway, thank you again, Marge, for the opportunity. And it certainly is great to see everybody on the screen.